record. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the info session on mental health care in Costa Rica. It is a summer program that will take place June 2nd through the 16th in 2024, the summer of 2024. I am Dr. Manijeh Badiee. I am the director of this program. I'm also a professor in psychology. And my email address is mbaddy@csusb.edu. So feel free to email me if you have questions come up. And just on this cover slide, I just wanted to note this is the Costa Rican flag, which I think is really beautiful. It has trees in it, which is not usual for a flag, but it just shows like how connected Costa Ricans are to nature and how well they preserve their nature, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then this is the food. The food is so delicious. It's so fresh. It's just so flavorful, and the juices are so fresh. It's incredibly delicious. So I wanted to first give you an overview of the program and talk about the purpose of it, and also share with you a general itinerary of what you'll be doing there. And we'll talk about the cost, the class you'll take in Costa Rica, and then we'll talk about the next steps as well in terms of applying. Okay, so first of all, just to let you know about the program in a nutshell, the program mostly takes place in the city of San Jose, the capital, which is, as you can see from this map, like pretty much in the center of the map. And San Jose is, as I mentioned, the capital, so it's a pretty big city. It's an urban, very urban. And well, we will spend time in another location called Quepos, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But most of the time, most of the 2 weeks that you're in the program, you will be in San Jose. And the dates of the program, you would fly in on Sunday, June 2nd, and then you would fly out in two weeks from that on Sunday, June 16th. And the programs would be starting the day after your arrival and the day before your departure. And another aspect of the program that I think is really wonderful is that we do homestay. So we will set you up with a homestay to live with a family, a Costa Rican family. And so they will feed you home cooked meals, and it will be breakfast and dinner. Generally, they'll feed you. So that's also a really great thing. I know my grandpa, there's a couple pictures of him later in the slides, but he's 90. Like at the time that he traveled with me to Costa Rica, he was, I think 91 at the time. And he's been on many trips around the world. And he said Costa Rica was his favorite because of the homestay experience. Like he never had an experience where he traveled and got to stay with a family and bond with a family. And it was very like just cozy and lovely. So the homestay is a really great experience. And the organization that we will partner with in Costa Rica, their name is Maximo Nivel. And so they are the ones that set up a lot of the opportunities for you. And they are like our local contact that knows all the local knowledge that helps you have a great experience. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So what is the purpose of this experience? Well, one, you can explore a different mental health care system. So if you're interested in mental health care or mental health issues, like we're going to explore a very different system. One that I think in a lot of ways, I'm a psychologist. I have been for over 10 years. I've been doing therapy, and I do think there's a lot that we could learn from the Costa Rican mental health care system. I think it's more holistic. There's also is more accessible in terms of, everybody can get mental health care. You don't have to have a certain job or something like that. It's universal. So you get to explore a different mental health care system. And you also get a chance to serve local communities. And that's, when we travel, sometimes we don't think about, well, we always think about what we're going to take, but we don't often think about what we give back. But in this travel experience, you'll get a chance not only to enjoy yourself and to learn a lot, but you will also have the experience of giving back to people who really need it. And this picture is an example of a potential site that you might go to. We will most likely go to a site with children. And so it's a chance really to, return a lot of the kindness that will be given to you there. It's a chance to enhance your Spanish language skills, as well as visit places that are absolutely gorgeous. You'll get to self-reflect and ultimately to have fun. You also will get a course credit while you're there. So you'll take a 3-unit course that will be required while you're there. It's pretty much a a discussion-based course. So while we're in Costa Rica, like we'll meet and we will discuss what happened to you, what's how your experience was of that day. And there will be like some journaling and, maybe a reflection paper, but it'll be a pretty easy course. It's not like you'll have to read a ton or, take exams or anything like that. Any questions? Okay. So your itinerary on weekdays, what does that look like? Well, on a typical weekday, you'll start with breakfast with your host family. Then you'll go to a mental health service learning site, which will be about 3 to 4 hours. And so the sites will vary. The sites will be maybe sites with, like I said, probably we will most likely have one with children. Then the other sites could be like elderly people or people with disabilities, depending on which community organizations have the most need. So with my help, you're going to develop some mental health related activities that you can do at each site, and then you will do those with the clients that are there. And after your service learning in the morning, you will have lunch at a restaurant that's near the site that you're at. And there'll always be, you'll always be near like a place with different restaurants. So lunch is the one meal that you're consistently on your own. So when I go over the cost with you, I'll factor in like how that's not included and what we estimate to be the cost. But just basically, when it comes to lunch, I mean, there's similar prices to here, but you can easily find like a decent lunch for about $10, $10 to $15, but it's not necessarily cheaper than here. Um, so then after your lunch, you'll have a conversational Spanish class, which will be 1 to 2 hours, where you'll basically be practicing your Spanish and it'll be tailored to your level of Spanish. And then after that, we'll do a debriefing with me and with the other students that are attending. And then finally, you'll have a class in either salsa dancing or cooking a local Costa Rican dish, or you can also choose to do conversational Spanish time. There's people that are wanting to learn English that want to work with someone who's an English speaker. So you can sign up to do that, and then they practice their English and you get to practice your Spanish. And then finally, your weekdays will generally end with dinner with your host family. So you'll be back in time for dinner. And then one of the nights that we're there for those 2 weeks, one of the weeknights will do a traditional dinner with a big buffet and like beautiful, like traditional dancing. This picture at the bottom right is of the place that we're going to go to, and it's really incredible to see all the different traditional outfits and the beautiful dancing, and the food is really good. Also, this image up here on the top right, los deberes de los niños, the rights of children. I took this picture at one of the sites, and I thought it was really, really amazing to see, like, right when you walked in, about what are the rights of the children that are being served there. So I thought it was a really excellent reminder for like children's rights, which is something like I don't think we think about as much in the US. So that was weekdays. Now, what about weekends? Well, before I even get to weekends, I wanted to share a video with y'all about the magic of Costa Rica because it sort of sets the stage for some of the experiences that you're going to have. So I'm going to close what I was sharing and go ahead and open the video.
Someone defines themselves when they reconnect with their spirit, their true essence, the nature that shapes who you are. Who am I? I am an alluring concentration of beauty, rainforests, beaches, and biodiversity. I live in the heart of the Americas, guarded by two seas. I am the deep green that entices those seeking relaxation and adventure. And I am so much more. In my essence live the warmth and authenticity of my people. People with open arms who look forward towards the future and welcome opportunities. I am a unique, happy, and caring nation that expresses itself through the diversity of its cultures. I am cradle of human talent, proud people who embrace challenges. I am a nation governed in peace with a solid, long-standing democracy. I stand behind health, education, and the pursuit of self-development as the cornerstones of happiness. In my essence lie the preservation and care for the environment, a model to the world. I breathe the riches of my land, and I recognize the wit of my people, ever capable of giving more than expected. I am a trustworthy and reliable nation, distinguished by the value of what I create. Human development, innovation, and a proven international competitiveness set me apart and enable me to export quality to the world. Those who come to know me are surprised, amazed. My greatest aspirations can be found in my concentrated essence. I am a country that attracts those who seek the value of excellence and the commitment to sustainability. I have much to offer those wishing to purchase, invest, produce, and develop. I have the required human and technological capabilities to achieve this. I rediscover myself by searching within. I find myself in what is vital, in what is true. I rediscover what is important. I am green. I am happiness. I am solidarity. I am talent. I am innovation. I am quality. I am diversity. I am concentration. I am essential Costa Rica.
Okay. So I think that video really just captures some of the beautiful aspects of Costa Rica. Like, for example, the fact that they are really lead the world in preserving their nature, and in their environment, like how they preserve the environment. And in terms of innovation and technology, they're ahead of a lot of countries. So they're, very much progressing because they do really care about science and they really, try to preserve their environment. And another thing that's really interesting about Costa Rica is that in like the 50s or 60s, they had a leader that actually disbanded their army. So they don't actually have a military. So they have allies to protect them in case someone attacks them or something, but they instead invested all the money from the military into health and education. So that just gives you a sense of the values of Costa Rica, even up to the government that, there's more emphasis on, expanding health and education than on creating, creating some strong military. And so all of that to sort of set the stage for what you're going to be doing on the weekends, which is basically exploring this incredible beauty that is Costa Rica. So the four places that we already have for you set up to go are Manuel Antonio National Park, Poas Volcano, Doca Coffee Tour, and La Paz Waterfall Gardens. So just taking a look at each of these individually. Manuel Antonio National Park, this is where we're going to be for a full weekend. It's like several hours away, and it's a national park that's a beach. But if you look at these pictures, I mean, I've never seen a beach like that. It's so green. It's really big. So if you like walking, you can walk around if you want to, but if not, you can stay in one place. There's monkeys. This picture is so cute. Like they're so cute, the monkeys, little baby monkeys, and they're not really that scared of people. So it's fun to watch the monkeys like in the trees. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful place on the beach that is, I'm really excited for us to go there. So that'll be like a whole weekend trip. And then these other ones are more day trips. So we're gonna visit a volcano called Poas Volcano. It's really astounding when you see it from this angle in person. It's just something that we don't usually see volcanoes, right? So it's really an incredible vision. And then the next one is Doca Coffee Tour. This is the pictures I was telling y'all about with my grandpa. If you love coffee, this is such a great time. I'm not even like a huge coffee person, but I have been on this tour like 4 times and I always enjoy it because you get to see from start to finish the process of how they like harvest the coffee beans and how they like create the coffee from the beginning to the end. Also, Costa Ricans like to say that they have the best coffee in the world. They say that although there's other places that have, produce a lot of coffee, like places like Brazil or other places in South America that, might produce a lot of coffee or Colombia, but they say that theirs is the best quality. So that's just what they say. And I will say that I don't even like coffee that much, but every time I go there, I buy like 6 or 7 coffees to keep with me to take back to the US. So it really is really good. And at the end of the tour, you get to sample the coffees. So that's also really great. And if you don't like coffee, they have also chocolate espresso beans. But chances are at least you know someone that likes coffee. So this is a great place to buy coffee, especially because you get to try it. And then you will also be going to La Paz Waterfall Gardens, which is so beautiful. There's lots of different animals. Here's just a couple examples. And just it's waterfalls. So there's, just waterfalls like all around you, some small, some big, some that you can get closer to. But it's a really beautiful place, really great experience. So those are some of the weekend things that we have planned for you. And then there will be a little bit of free time if you want to do additional activities as well. So let's talk about what's probably on everybody's mind. What are the costs of this program? So these are estimated costs. They're tentative, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But let's just look at these costs here. So remember, I was saying that we work with a organization in Costa Rica called Maximo Nivel, and they're the ones that set up all your homestay, your experiences, like your mental health experiences, the travel experiences we talked about. And so you pay a fee to them to cover all of that. So for what we have planned, the program fee that you would be responsible for before you left Costa Rica would be the $2,839 is what the program fee is. Now that fee does include all the classes I mentioned. So like the Spanish classes, the salsa, the cooking. It includes all the places when we visit sites. It includes most of your meals. And because it does include, like when we do those weekend trips, it does include a lot of those meals as well. It includes your homestay. So that basically including lodging for 2 weeks. And then also the trips that we're going to take. So not bad of a deal. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but if you think about, staying somewhere for 2 weeks, having, two of your three meals and all these sites visits and classes, it really ends up not being too much for all of those services that they're providing. Now, the reason that this is tentative is because we need at least 10 students to attend this program. And so this fee is based on if we get the minimum of 10 students. But if more students come up to 15, then this fee will actually go down. So I really encourage you to tell your friends about this experience. Like tell your friends that you think would also be interested. I'm happy to send them the recording for the info session. But yeah, like the cost can actually go down for each student if we have more than 10 students. And so that's the cost that you'll pay to the study abroad office at CSUSB by in the spring. And you can create a payment plan for that amount as well that you can work with them to do this in installments. And then remember, I told you there's also a required class that you'll take in the summer. So for that required course, it's 1,915 tuition. Um, you don't get financial aid in the summer if it's only 3 unit course, which it is. So what we can do for you to be eligible for financial aid is we can have you do a little bit of extra work and take an independent study with me. And basically, you'll have to do a little bit of maybe research and write a paper, but that will give you, we'll have it be a 4 unit independent study, which will be an additional 3,121, but you can qualify for financial aid for the summer. Now, there's also financial aid opportunities that are specifically for study abroad. So you don't need to take the additional 4 units, which I'll talk about a little bit later in this session. And then lunches, so remember lunches are you're on your own, you're going to be eating at the site. And just we estimate that for those 2 weeks, lunches would cost you about $300. Airfare is approximately 750 for that time. And $300, souvenirs, other things, snacks you want to buy. We're just estimating. Obviously, you could spend more or less on that. But we estimate that to be about 300. So the total cost of everything we estimate to be about $6,100. And then if you take the additional units, it's $7,300. So and that summer tuition includes the mandatory campus fee that you have to pay in the summer, and it does reflect the summer 2023 tuition rate. So there's a chance they would increase slightly, but probably not by too much. So are there any questions now about the costs, the payments, the scholarships, or anything? I'll talk about scholarships in a second, but are there any questions about the costs? Okay. So going forward then, what is the class that you're going to take in Costa Rica? Well, it's actually called, it's Psych 3375. So it's the 300 level psychology course called Seminar in Psychology. It's 3 units. It counts as a psychology elective, and it counts as credit for the Spanish healthcare certificate. So if you're pursuing that this does provide credit for that. And so given all this, what are the next steps? There's one prerequisite, but you can waive the prerequisite if you take the Spanish placement exam, because basically we just want to make sure you have a basic level of speaking Spanish. So you can either take a course, an introductory Spanish course at CSUSB, which is Spanish 11112, college Spanish. But let's say you think like, I don't really need a course. Like I think I have a basic Spanish knowledge and fluency. So then you would take the placement exam. And as long as you score enough to show that you have a conversational level of Spanish, then you're good. You don't need to take the class. So you might not need to take any classes at all as a prerequisite. But if you don't take a class, you do have to take the placement exam. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, you can definitely so the person to email about the place taking the placement exam is Dr. Carmen D'Agostino, and you can email her at cjany@csusb.edu. And I would get on that because if by any chance they say like, oh no, you do have to take the class, like you want to know in time to register for the spring. And I believe it's offered online, so it shouldn't be hopefully too much of a burden to take the class. Okay, so what about applying to the program? Well, that's done through this website called goabroad.csusb.edu. And basically you see where this arrow is that I put in this image. You click on search programs and you look for Costa Rica. Now, the program, it might not be up yet because right now they're prioritizing programs that are like in the spring. So ours, they're working on getting the summer programs up by like maybe mid-December-ish. So I would check back like maybe in a couple weeks if you don't see it yet. But that's how you would end up looking for it is searching and applying through that. And as far as like applying, filling out the application, the priority deadline is February 15th. So you have a little bit of time to get that application done. And then what about financial assistance? As promised, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So regarding financial assistance, you can go to that same page, goabroad.csusb.edu. But this time, you would search for financial assistance. So you would look first, you would go to education abroad. So you see like on this page, the second thing on the menu is education abroad. So if you hover over that, it'll open up this menu and there is an option about how to fund your program. So if you click on that, you'll see different scholarship opportunities and financial assistance opportunities. Last year, President Morales gave $500 to every student who was studying abroad. And we're hoping that that will also be the case this year. We don't have the final word on that, but that would be guaranteed. If that does happen, that would be guaranteed for students that are studying abroad. So that's about all that I have. Are there any questions at this time? All right. Well, I hope you all consider applying and um, yeah, please feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'll go ahead and drop my email in the chat as well, so you can copy and paste it if you want. But that's about it. Thank you so much for being here, and I really hope all of you can come to Costa Rica this summer. Take care.